Welcome back. Dorothy here, professional astrologer. You can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. Today I'm going to give you the astrological forecast for the week beginning October 2nd, and that also includes the full moon that we have on October 5th. So stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, thank you for joining me today. Now, I want to let you know quickly that if you look in the text box below this video, wherever you find it, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube itself, I have the timestamps for each individual day posted, so you're able to slide to those once you start getting further into the week, so you don't have to listen to everything all over again or hunt for the next day that you want to listen to. All right, and please comment, please share. And yeah, that's good. So today I want to talk about, started with October 2nd. So when we have October 2nd, we have the morning, we start the morning with the moon in Aquarius, which is rather analytical. It's not overly emotional, analytical, but it goes void of course. So that means the last aspect it makes at 7:13 in the morning, and that last aspect is a nice, comfortable trine to Jupiter. But when the moon is void of course, and then at 10:26 a.m. it moves into Pisces, this is feeling a bit lazy. It's going to be a hard day to get started. I just have to say, I think what the most important thing is, if you can get up like early 5 a.m., and I'm talking East Coast time, if you can get up early, the moon makes an aspect with Uranus early in the morning before sunrise. That might get the day going better. But if you're like, if it's just a normal, whatever that is, right, and you get up regular time, go to work, 9 to 5, then just expect that this day is not going to be one full of new adventures or new beginnings, because the moon is void of course pretty early in the day, and then once it gets into the sign of Pisces, and it'll be in the sign of Pisces for all the way through until Wednesday, the moon in Pisces is about seeing that bigger picture. No boundaries, connecting to that higher self, connecting to the higher consciousness, being imaginative and being creative. It's not grounded though. So if you in your own personal life have some things that are very grounding for you, then you'll be able to use this moon, this void of course period, and the moon in Pisces to be really creative and imaginative. But if you wake up feeling a bit foggy and you hit that alarm clock a few too many times and you don't have enough cups of coffee, the day, it's not going to be shot by any means, because we're not going to create that, but it can be a day where we just need to coast along. All right, so don't try and force anything to happen on Monday, because it's just a day about kind of like going with the flow more than anything. On Tuesday, October 3rd, the moon makes a connection to Neptune, right? Moon in Pisces, Neptune's in Pisces. It's just going to give us another day where we're going to feel really spacey, and we're not going to be able to figure out what it is that we're doing. It's just not going to be easy to figure that out. But there's a whole bunch of other things going on. The moon makes, not till 5 in the afternoon though, does the moon make a sextile to Pluto, which means, all right, we can go deep. We can go deep in our meditations and the creativity and our imagination. Not very grounded, okay? Got to remember that. Then the moon is opposite Venus and Mars, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. All of this is East Coast time. Please remember that. Now, with these oppositions, this creates a dynamic in relationships, and relationships is pretty much a theme for this week. Venus and Mars are both in Virgo, and that's about being particular and focusing on a lot of the details. If we focus too hard, we can become picky and obsessive. The moon in Pisces, again, is that bigger picture, and it wants everything to become to one. When we have an opposition, they always represent relationships and the dynamic between like you and me, or you and your partner, whatever that is, that one-to-one back and forth relationship. This is the theme of what's going on. The sun's in Libra, so that also heightens the sense of this, right? This sense of we're looking for that balance and harmony where it does not exist. Okay, and this is what we have on Tuesday. It's a lot of work. Now we also have throughout on Tuesday, and this is a slower aspect than the moon, is Venus making a trine aspect to Pluto. They're in Earth energy. Now that Earth energy represents that if you do have something that is really super deep, Venus is our love relationships and what we value. Pluto is going deep. Pluto in Capricorn for a very long time now has been kind of shaking up what we think is our foundations and changing, not even changing that, but breaking it up so much that we have to look at what's going on, right? With Venus making an aspect to Pluto, it's a healthy aspect, it's an easy aspect. It is helping us to recognize where the strength is in the relationships and actually easily seeing where the strength is not, where we're weak, to put it in the proper terms, where we are weak in our relationships. So on October 4th, 3:19 in the morning, East Coast time, the moon makes its final aspect. It makes an aspect to Saturn, square to Saturn. It's in the middle of the night for everybody, and so most likely we won't feel this. But if you're somebody who's not in a good place in a relationship, I remember these days, it's been decades, I promise, but when you're really not happy about somebody in a relationship, you're not sleeping. And so you actually are up at this time of night. As a scooter rides by. And so when the moon makes this square aspect to Saturn, it's the final aspect that it makes, and it goes void of course at this point. You know, I think we could easily get like one of those ear brain worm things, whatever you call them, when you can't stop thinking, and you keep replaying the same thing over and over again. And this is something that is pretty much stressful. And when the moon does do that, when the moon makes that final aspect to Saturn at 3:19, I'm looking at my notes, you know, and it goes void of course, it's just like hitting neutral when you're going down a hill, you know, driving through the mountains, and you just put your car into neutral. You don't touch the gas, you don't touch the brakes. So we could pick up some speed that we might not like. So what do you do with this? It's the best thing to do is, again, to figure out how to stay grounded in all of the things that are going on. Figure out what your tether is that's going to keep you from going, you know, off into space. What's holding you here? Figure that out for yourself. What is going on? Now, not until 4:40 in the afternoon, then the moon ends its void of course period. So all day Wednesday, again, is a day where things are just sort of floating around all over the place, not able to really ground anything. When that moon enters the sign of Aries, again, look at my notes, at 4:40 p.m., this is when all of a sudden we can just stop immediately and say, hey, what is it that I want to do? That moon in Aries is all about being assertive and taking charge. And this is when we can actually, after, you know, feeling very emotional or upset or just lost in our own mind and thoughts and emotions for a couple of days, the moon in Aries can create where we finally step up and say, what do I want? What is it that I want? And that's the question that you will ask yourself, and you should ask yourself when that moon's in Aries, what should I do? Because when the moon's in Aries, tomorrow and the next day, we have a lot of aspects with that. So with that energy, it's like focusing on what I want, what I need. Very, very important. And what else do I want to say about Wednesday, the 4th of October? Let's see. The sun makes a really hard aspect to Neptune at this point. The sun from Libra to Neptune in Pisces. And this is where we're really feeling indecisive about the decisions that we've made. And we can really have, we need to make a lot of adjustments. We might feel we need to make adjustments. The thing is, we're going back and forth. The quincunx aspect, 150 degrees, and nothing cooperates between the two. And so every time we take two steps, it's like taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. We say we do something, we make adjustments. We go and we do something, the environment creates a situation, we make adjustments. So this is kind of what goes on throughout the day. So it's foggy for a little while, then we finally in the late afternoon decide to make decisions about what I want, because that's Aries, I am, what do I need? And then that Sun-Neptune aspect creates stepping into what I want, making adjustments. Stepping into what I want, making adjustments. All right, I know I repeated myself there, but I hope you got that as a full enough picture for yourself. All right? All right, so let's move on to Thursday, October 5th. We have that full moon at 12 degrees of Aries. It is at 2:40 p.m. Before that, though, the moon makes an opposition aspect to Mercury in Libra. Now, that's at 10 in the morning, East Coast time. When Mercury is in Libra, that's all about communicating what's fair and what's balanced within the dynamic of relationships and partnerships. Even if you're at work and you and somebody you work with, a coworker or whomever, are trying to figure something out, that's what this is about. Back and forth conversation. The moon in Aries is emotional connection to what it is we personally feel we want and need. I am. Aries is all about I am. And so that is something that's super important. So that will be triggered first thing in the morning. Now, a couple hours later, is it 2 hours later? Yes, 12:53. We also have Venus and Mars conjunct in Virgo. Venus and Mars is the epitome of the masculine and the feminine, the yin, the yang, the receptive and the outgoing. So what I receive or what I put out into the world. In Virgo, Venus is not a fan of being in the sign of Virgo. It is, it slows it down. It makes it too picky if we can't find the right balance. It creates too much pickiness. Mars and Virgo can be very similar. When they come together like this, it is an earth sign. It is a mutable earth sign. So if you're going to be picky and you're going to start picking things to death, you might do that. Maybe it's necessary for you right now. If you're trying to really fine-tune something at work, or you're trying to fine-tune and put up boundaries around what's going on in your personal relationships. This is helpful, but if you go too far, it is not helpful. And then, so when we have that full moon at 2:40, because that's the third aspect of the day, that full moon at 12 degrees of Aries, the sun's at 12 Libra, the moon is at 12 Aries. Wherever that full moon in Aries is in your astrology chart, especially the house or if it connects to things, it's going to give you additional information. But since I don't know about your chart, since there's many of you listening, just know that Aries is always in the same place in your chart. The full moon will illuminate what it is you need to speak up for yourself, what you need to speak up for yourself and how you want to do that. This is what that full moon in Aries is all about. Speaking up for what you want and need. Sometimes it doesn't come out so beautiful or innocent because Aries is just straightforward. It's just like that 2-year-old that wants that candy at the checkout counter and the parent says no and they throw themselves on the floor and pitch a fit. That's the moon in Aries in a very detrimental behavior, but still it's behaving the way the moon in Aries has to sometimes to get attention, to get what it needs. So this moon in Aries can be, if you can find a more calmer way to do it, I don't think it'd be great if every adult pitched a fit in the middle of the store, but your internal child is pitching a fit. So there may be a period here, especially with all the Piscean stuff going on in the beginning of the week, there actually may be an opportunity here for you to do some work and kind of calm that inner child down and assure that inner child that they're gonna get what they need and do work like that. And this is really not a bad idea, especially if it's something new and you've never done it before. And especially because the moon is in a cardinal sign and so is the sun, all right? And they're connecting, and that cardinal signs are all about initiating new action. Okay. Then later in the night, 9:46 p.m., the moon at that point makes a square aspect to Pluto. When the moon squares Pluto, it does this twice a month, but this is this applying aspect creates where we can really see what it is that's at the deep root of our emotions and our concerns. So if you can find some quiet time, if things aren't in too much of an uproar for you, then you might be able to say, well, what is it that I truly feel and how deep does it go? All right? Because not everybody has relationship issues at all. So you can look at this in any other relationship capacity. Okay? That is the full moon in Aries and October 5th. All right, moving on to Friday, October 6th. Let's see what I got going on here. We have that moon. The moon's making a number of aspects. It's making some hard aspects to Venus and Mars in the middle of the night, which again creates us getting kind of stuck in our head about things. And even until we get to 7:26 in the morning, when the moon makes a trine aspect to Saturn, to me this can help us feel a little calmer about whatever went on the night before or the day before, or whatever's been triggered during the full moon. It's because the moon in Saturn is stabilizing. All right, so we do have that in the morning. But then again, we also have later in the day. So this is there's some pros and cons here. Moon trine Saturn calms things down, stabilizes things, solidifies things, makes us feel a little bit better, even though the moon is in Aries. But we also have Mercury making a super hard aspect to Neptune, and this is confusing communication. We're not sure what's going on. And so again, thank God that there's a little bit of Saturn happening, right? Because most people don't like Saturn, but it's good that we have some of it because the rest of the day can be really confusing. So we started our work week, if you're a Monday through Friday kind of person, we started our work week with lots of Neptune and not sure about what boundaries are or what's going on. And we end Friday a similar way, not the same, but a similar way when we're having a lack of communication. The communication we're getting is not clear and we don't know what to do. So again, 2 steps forward, 1 step back is the kind of the week that this looks like. Now, the big aspect that we have on this day as well, they're not big aspects because the moon is only a couple of hours. That's why I give you these time stamps, right? So the moon only really influences us between 2 and 4 hours for the most part. The moon makes a conjunction to Uranus at 3 p.m. And that is just like, all right, I'm done. I'm ready. I want to tap out. I want to go. I don't want to be at work anymore. I don't want to do any more of whatever it is I'm doing. We're going to turn on a dime and go do something else. It's all this Aries energy, which is independent and all about just doing what I want. Nothing to do with anybody else. It's just quick, sudden behavior. And we all feel it. We will all feel it. Uranus has been hanging out at this area for a long time. And Uranus and Jupiter, as you know, are in an well, maybe you don't know, but I've talked about it. Many people have talked about it. They're in it, still in an opposition, Jupiter and Uranus, and they've been back and forth all of 2017, and they are connecting and creating this, where there's balance, this independence. We see it in the news media a lot, where there are individuals that are creating a lot of noise, and they have no regard for what the partner or the opposite side wants. And so we're still trying to figure that out. And we can bring it right down to our personal level, where we're trying to find that balance, because the moon is also opposite Jupiter on that at that point too. It was 7 o'clock this night. And so when we have that going on, the moon conjunct Uranus and then the moon opposite Jupiter, once again, we're looking for harmony, balance, compassion. Would be nice if we could tuck some of that in there somewhere and not be so hard-nosed about what it is that we want. So finishing up Friday night, we have the moon entering the sign of Taurus, and that is at 8 p.m., 7:56 p.m. The moon in Taurus loves food, loves smells, loves sights, loves to look beautiful and feel great. Perfect night for a date. So take your honey out and have a good night, because it could have been a rough week. And if you don't want to take your honey out, take yourself out. And just have a good night and go enjoy some food, something that you know you absolutely love and you don't have very often, because that's the epitome of that moon in Taurus. Okay? Good. Now, how about we move on to Saturday the 7th? Not a lot going on Saturday the 7th. We're going to just stick with the moon in Taurus. It does nothing. No, it makes no aspects until the afternoon at 4 p.m. when it makes a sextile to Neptune. And that's such a minor aspect that it's just, it'll feel like a comfortable afternoon. And that's really all it comes down to. So that's what Saturday looks like. So enjoy the day. Beautify your home. Depending on where you live, you may need to be cleaning up your yard, cleaning up your gardens. Taurus is an earth sign, just making things pretty or clean at least for the winter. Put those things to bed, if you will. And that really is the simple piece of what Saturday the 7th is like. It's nothing too complicated on this day. Now let's move on to the final day of this report, and that's Sunday the 8th. And the thing I want to talk about the most, the moon's going to be in Taurus all day long. Everything I just said is what rules. And the moon will enter Gemini, there we go, at 9:44 p.m. on Sunday night. So the moon in Taurus all day long is perfect. It's lovely. Again, just have a good weekend and enjoy yourself. The most aspects it makes a trine to Mars, which is a whole lot of fun. So it gives that a lot of energy for doing some of the things I already said. Gardening, Get doing things that make you feel good, things that are really comforting for yourself. It makes a trine to Venus, which is also the same thing at 9:45 a.m. And after that, the moon goes void, of course. So basically, Saturday and Sunday really come down to the fact that it's all about just enjoying yourself over the weekend, doing whatever it is that you love, and beautifying yourself, beautifying where you live, anything that is all about what you value, what you love, and what is beautiful for you. Those are the aspects that I will leave you with now. All right? Very good. So thank you for watching. Please share this wherever you find it. You know, I got little buttons all over the place so you can just share. Come to my website. I'm a full-service astrologer, so you know what that means. Readings, classes, mentorship programs. Thank you for watching, and till next time, blessings and namaste.